Hello everyone, this is my review of my 2021 Unicomp PC122 key keyboard. It was manufactured on the 22nd of June 2021 and is in the classic IBM color scheme with the ISO key layout. I've been using it for about a week and a bit, so I can't comment on longevity quite yet, but I've found no real problems so far. So the reason for doing this review is simply to show the 122 keyboard variant, or Battlecruiser as it's known, because every other video is of the standard 101 key layout or similar. And this is what made me a little hesitant to purchase this keyboard at first, because I was only ever getting still images on the internet or short videos on audio typing tests. They've also always been in the black chassis and grey keycap variant, so I made a leap of faith of purchasing this one with only the low-res preview images on the Unicomp website as a reference. Now, before I go on to my configuration, I've heard from many other YouTube reviews that Unicomp have recently upgraded their tooling, which made me even more keen to purchase this keyboard and also review it. Then I can see if there are any major differences in quality compared to older review videos. I know especially some people had broken feet, and also a few people were complaining about the key alignment, etc. Now, it's a bit hard for me to do a direct comparison as I don't have another Unicomp or classic IBM keyboards to compare, so I recommend watching some of the other newer YouTube videos to get a more professional comparison. Now, onto my keyboard. Firstly, you might be wondering why I went with the ISO layout, especially with the short shift key, which is a learning curve, especially to someone who was used to the ANSI US and Australian layouts. And it's simply because of the extra key on the numpad. After using the keyboard for my Macintosh, I have fallen in love with having an equals key instead of pressing Shift plus all the time. I simply find it so much quicker and more convenient this way. I absolutely love it. So my plan is to reprogram the keys so to make the numpad just like the Macintosh. That's also why I went for the 122 key layout in the first place. Custom key layout and macros. I have heard people suggest using Xmodmap to reprogram the keys, although I haven't fully looked into it yet. You can make note of the scan codes using the program XEV, which I have tried, and it seems to confirm that each key sends a separate scan code. However, it is important to note that you need to get the single usage code of firmware, also known as Linux firmware, to be able to send the individual scan codes to the computer. Otherwise, the F13 row and up will simply send combo codes such as Shift F1, etc. Also be aware, this firmware does swap the caps lock and control keys around to suit Emacs users. Ugh. I personally cannot get my head around this, so after a few days I switched back to it as I'm already used to using caps as my super key. I should also mention the key rollover or lack thereof. It could just be because I'm a filthy casual, but I haven't experienced any major issues whilst playing games such as Elite Dangerous where you have to hold down multiple keys or control pitch, roll, yaw, height and all that. Now onto the colour. I decided for my first Model M experience to get the classic beige IBM colour scheme. The chassis colour is pearl, and the keys are the pearl and pebble colour scheme, and the keys are also in the two-piece keycap or cap and stem design. From memory, I believe I saw a lot of people on forums say that Unicomp don't offer the cap and stem keycaps, but that's not true. It's just not the default option. You'll need to specify that you would like them in the customization fee. Also a nice thing is the super minimalistic LED overlay sticker instead of the blue Unicomp one. I would have gone for the classic IBM one, but the new logic board has the lights in the center top and not in the bottom left. But not a major worry. Funnily enough, you can see the old holes from the original mold, but that's not an issue. If anything, it's kind of cool seeing the keyboard mold evolve over time. Now, one big issue in my opinion is the retina melting laser beam death ray. The blue LED light is simply too bright. You cannot look at it for more than a second before permanently blinding yourself to a light that could power 1,000 Dyson spheres. But this is a very small gripe I have and should not at all deter anyone from considering this keyboard. I just thought I should mention it as it is a usability error in my opinion. Also, it would be nice if you could choose a classic green colour in the customization fee instead of the blue, but again, it's very much a low priority. Overall, I personally love this colour scheme, and in my opinion, I believe it looks much higher quality than the black version, or at least comparing to the images on the website. But that's all I'm going off, so take that with a truckload of salt, and again, that's just my personal opinion. And onto the build quality. First things first. The deck flex is fine. It feels hefty, weighing slightly under 3 kilograms, and is an overall very solid design that should last a while. Now, I've seen a lot of people with concerns on the build quality, especially the feet and keys. Firstly, if I flip this thing over, we can see that the feet are actually very decent. I was surprised to feel how good they felt for hollow plastic, and that solid thonk is pretty nice. Some people also complained about discoloration of swirls on the underneath from the molding process, and I can happily report that they are nowhere to be found. And I'm not being blind, they simply don't exist. So they must have fixed this issue in the new revision, or it simply isn't visible at all in the beige pearl color scheme. So no issues underneath. Back on the top, people seem to love having a whinge about the rotation of the keys being ever so slightly offset. So to test, if I run my finger over them now and look, I really don't see it at all on this keyboard. Also, the keys themselves feel really good and high quality. Typing on this feels very premium and way better than the cheap keycaps you get on some of those gaming keyboards. The keys also feel very tight and precise, with a satisfying click. So overall, I think the build quality is great, and I expect this thing to last years. What can I say? It's a buckling spring Model M, therefore it must be good. Nice. To conclude, if you've been umming and ahhing about whether or not you should get one, especially a similar configuration to mine, I cannot recommend this keyboard enough. It is by far the best typing experience I have ever tried. I am by no means an expert, but I do believe it would have to be the best keyboard I've tried to date, with the worst part being the LED, which in my opinion is the smallest issue and also the easiest thing to fix in the new revisions. So I am extremely happy with this keyboard, and I think it is just wonderful. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it has helped. Message in the comments if you have any extra questions. Thanks for watching.